Hello everyone, I'm Victoria, and today I'd like to do the newbie Booktube tag. So the first question in this tag is, why did you start your YouTube channel? Because I'm insane, obviously. No, but seriously, I love books and I love talking about books. Unfortunately, a lot of my family members and friends either don't really like books or they don't like the books that I do, and so we don't really get to have wonderful conversations, but I really want to. And so I read a ton and I think about the books and I think about them, and then I start talking about them to myself. And that's kind of crazy, and then we circle back to the whole I started this channel because I'm insane thing. But truth is, I really want to talk about books. I love them so much and I love reading, and I want to be part of a community that feels the same way that I do. And so that's why I started my channel, hopefully to connect with some of you and to express my thoughts. Question number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? I think the first of these is my genres that I like to read. I find that they're pretty underrepresented on Booktube, and I'd love to be able to tell other people about them. So I, of course, read things that are popular on Booktube. You've got your YA, some of your fantasy, sci-fi, that kind of stuff. But I also really love historical romance and paranormal romance and urban fantasy, and I feel like these genres aren't super represented on Booktube, and I would like to explore these with other people and kind of show other people that if you like certain things in this genre, maybe you'll like these books in this genre, and I want to have a conversation about these. So if you guys know of any other booktubers that especially like these types of genres, please let me know in the comments. The other thing that I think I have a unique perspective on is my critical reading. I am definitely a critical reader, and I ain't jumping on no hype train, okay? I'm gonna take a book and look at it for its merits and also my enjoyment of it. So I think that that's important to have people that can remain somewhat objective about things. Jumping off of that, I also think that I have a different perspective from an age standpoint. I would say I'm probably about 10 or so years older than the average booktuber. And so because of that, I come from a different perspective. I don't have maybe the same nostalgia that other people have. Good or bad, it's just a different viewpoint. So for example, I love Harry Potter. I absolutely love the series, but I didn't grow up with it. It's not my childhood. It came out when I was in college, or at least the movie came out, and that's when I started reading the books, when I was in college. And Twilight, which I think has had such a major influence on the YA genre as a whole, it wasn't released until a year after I graduated college. So I don't approach a lot of things with that same kind of feeling of nostalgia. And so I think that's something a little bit unique and different. But again, if you guys know of any booktubers that are maybe of a certain age, I would love to know. Let me know in the comments below. The third question is, what are you most excited for in your channel coming up? I would say just being able to connect with other readers. Again, like I said, I haven't been able to do that very much in my real life, but I think in the online community I can find some kinship, and I'm just really hoping for excellent suggestions too. I'm always looking for that next thing to read, and there's so many people out there that are super knowledgeable about what is available, and I can't wait to kind of like metaphorically pick people's brains. Not realistically, because that would be gross. Question number 4 is, why do you love reading? I'd say the number one thing for me is escape. I love being transported to another world. I love encountering different people and their personalities. I just want to be entertained and swept away to a different land. Sometimes I do want something a little headier, a little deeper, to explore the meaning of life and all that kind of stuff. But in general, it's definitely to escape from this world. I definitely feel like my number one reason that I love reading is to be able to escape into a different world. Question 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? This is kind of a difficult question because I've always considered myself a reader, though I definitely was not as prolific a reader as I am today. I think what brought on the great reading renaissance is a combination of different things, but I'd say one of the things that really played into this was the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger. It's a fun series. It's not serious, though it does deal with some serious issues, I suppose, in a way, but it's just a ton of fun, and it's something that was kind of outside of what I would have read normally, and it just kind of opened up an entirely new set of genres for me, ones that I honestly would have been all snobby and scoffed before, but now I understand, I love, and you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna read them anyway. Question number 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? I guess I'd have to say, how do you keep at it? How do you stay engaged with people? As someone who's an introvert, I kind of find it difficult to talk to others. I can talk to this camera just fine, but answering questions from people, liking comments, that always makes me nervous. So how do you do that? How do you get over that? Also, how do you just keep at it? Some of y'all have been at it for years, and I'm impressed with the staying power, sticking to it. It's amazing. You guys should be so proud of yourselves. Question 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Honestly, it's what I mentioned in the previous question. I'm pretty introverted and I find it difficult to talk to other people, definitely people that I don't know, and so I'm nervous about that social interaction. I really want to try, like I said, I'm super into books and I do want to talk about them. I have a passion for them and I really want to try to be part of this community. I'm just nervous that I won't be able to break out of my shell and do it. So that is definitely my number one concern, is being able to be a responsible member of the community and interacting. Question number 8 is, when did you start reading? I don't know. I was a kid. I was tiny. I don't really remember that long ago. But I know when I restarted reading again, when I started my great reading renaissance, as I call it, I want to say, I think it was 2011, about halfway through that year, where I was able to really jump back into books and just devour them. I think I read that first year, and again, it was only like a half a year. I think I read like 111 books, and then it just kind of got even more from there, and I just haven't looked back since. So I guess when I first started reading, I don't know, 4 or 5, it was a long time ago, but when did I officially get back into books? Like never before, and that was in 2011. Question number 9 is, where do you read? Everywhere. Seriously, I'm not kidding. When I'm at home, I generally tend to read physical books. This is a new development for me. I just started this over the past couple months. I had previously been reading a ton of ebooks, but I found some different places to get physical books cheaper, and I started hoarding books again. So when I'm at home, I generally read physical copies, and in the house, I read either in the living room or in a spare bedroom, which I've converted into a kind of library slash craft room slash nerdy geeky headquarters. When I'm outside of the house, I try to read ebooks, and I read them basically everywhere. Anytime I have a moment, there's a pause in the action, I whip out my phone and I'm reading. If it's at the grocery store and I'm online and I'm waiting to check out, I'm reading. Honestly, if I go somewhere and I'm slightly early for an appointment or something, I take out my phone and I'm reading. I read as much as possible whenever I can. I think this is actually a great way to kind of up your page count, is to have an ebook handy at all times, or even a regular book if you want to bring it with you. I know a lot of booktubers are kind of adverse, it seems like, to ebooks and prefer physical books. And while I do love physical books, ebooks are just so darn convenient, and they sync across multiple platforms and are wonderful. Question number 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? This has definitely changed over the years. When I was younger, I was such a book snob. I would basically only read things that were classics or literary fiction. Historical fiction in particular was a favorite of mine, like think Tracy Chevalier, Girl with a Pearl Earring, that kind of stuff. And then I hit a slump. I was just not liking what I was reading so much. I read a couple bad books. Books were expensive. I was poor, all that kind of thing. And it wasn't until a few years later that I just got over that whole snobbery and just started reading books that I, well, frankly, enjoyed. It didn't matter that I thought they were trashy or silly or stupid. If I enjoyed them, I read them. And so now I will say that my tastes have changed, or not changed, but I've embraced different genres. So I do read a ton of historical fiction. I read paranormal romance, urban fantasy. I do read some YA. I have been trying to get a little bit more into that since it is pretty popular on Booktube. And it's been mixed, but I've had some really great reads and some not as much. I'm also really trying to get into fantasy. I love the idea of fantasy, and I've read quite a bit of romantic fantasy, or yeah, I guess it's romantic fantasy, and I love it. Unfortunately, I feel like that's a subgenre that isn't really written in too much. I have trouble finding things, so if you guys can tell me any romantic fantasy authors, that would be fantastic. I'm always looking to read more in that genre. So if you're noticing a pattern, it's mostly a little bit of romance. I like a little bit of romance in there. It doesn't have to be the entire story at all, but basically anything that is fun and well written, I'm down to read. So thank you everyone so much for watching. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, all the things, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Bye everybody.